In today's morning business report, the market selected Chevron as the oil company making the biggest strides in Venezuela.
Plus, new coins begin circulating today, marking America's 250th birthday. Channel 3's Jane King live at the New York Stock Exchange with those stories and more. Good morning, Jane.
Hi, Tracy and Caitlin. Good morning. As Chevron holds an advantage as the only major U.S. oil company that currently operates in Venezuela. So Wall Street analysts believe that it's got the easiest chance to benefit from the changes there. But there is a long and expensive road ahead for U.S. oil companies to restore Venezuela to its peak production of 3.5 million barrels a day, which was reached in the 90s. Well, analysts say that oil majors will certainly want to know who's in charge, how stable the government is, and of course, that's very uncertain at the moment. Well, PepsiCo and General Mills are among a handful of companies planning to boost affordability as shoppers tighten their spending. Cheerios and Nature Valley bar maker General Mills said it will cut prices on nearly 2/3 of grocery products in North America. And PepsiCo also plans to lower prices this year across its food products. And new coins begin to circulate this week commemorating the 250th anniversary of the United States founding. The coins feature pilgrims and early presidents, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and James Madison. The other 25-cent coins slated for circulation include the Revolutionary War Quarter, the Declaration of Independence Quarter, the Constitution Quarter, and the Gettysburg Address Quarter. Okay, the Dow yesterday up 600 points to a record high, traded above 49,000 for the first time ever, and it was energy stocks that led the way higher. This morning, more of a mixed start is how we're looking. Live from the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Jane King. Back to you.